What's up, everybody? Go Burns, welcoming you to another episode of my vlog series over on my vlogs channel. That's right. In case you're wondering, I have a few channels. The main one, obviously, the gaming channel. And then I have the little sister, the vlogs channel. And if you guys have a vlogs suggestion that I have yet to do, by the way, feel free and check out my vlogs playlist for previous vlogs. So, if you have a vlog suggestion that I've yet to do, feel free and send it my way via the comments section, Twitter, Facebook, or email, goburns@gmail.com. So, that's all you gotta do, is just hit me up, let me know a vlog suggestion you have in mind you'd like for me to tackle in a future vlog episode. And if it's one that's very personal to you, that you don't really want people to know it was you that made the suggestion, you want to keep it anonymous, well, that is perfectly fine. Just let me know that whenever you send it to me, and you can send it to me privately by messaging me on the Facebook page, or once again emailing me, goburns@gmail.com. Just let me know that you want it to be anonymous. Okay, so today we are talking about addiction or addictions. Why? Well, for no real reason. It's just something that popped in my head. Sometimes I have, like, something comes up and I think about it, I'm like, yes, that would be a good vlog idea. And then sometimes there's reason to why I'm doing a particular vlog, because something transpired in real life that made me think about said subject. But today, for some reason, addiction popped into my head. And I guess it's something that is a very broad topic. Because I'm not just talking about the really nasty addictions. I'm talking about all the addictions that go on in the world. Like the addiction to sweets, or chocolate, or addiction to coffee. A lot of people are addicted to getting their cup of joe every day, whether it's old-fashioned, straight up black, or they have to go to Starbucks or somewhere else to get a nice frappuccino, or whatever they feel like dropping $5, $7, $10 on a pop for. Kind of an addiction, isn't it? Yeah, I would say so. But so what is addictions, anyways? It's something that we do on a regular basis that, we just couldn't see ourselves not doing. Like, for example, some of the more, I guess, adult things. We'll go there. We'll go from just, kind of harmless to a certain degree. Some sweets to coffee to cappuccinos, frappuccinos, frozen lattes, whatever. It's an addiction. You're addicted to that stuff. It's okay. To the more adult ones, like, for example, I know coffee's technically adultish, but that's besides the point. I'm talking about the ones that can start to cause you serious issues when you get older. I'm referring to, of course, the cigarettes, aka the cancer sticks, and, of course, alcohol, adult beverages. And in the past, I have consumed both. I have partaken in tobacco as well as alcohol. Now, what's sad about tobacco, and probably alcohol as well, is a lot of it starts off as peer pressure. It's usually, in middle school, high school, that's when it happened to me. Your friends are having a smoke. They're smoking cigarettes. Who knows how they got a hold of those cigarettes, even though you have to be like 18 in the United States in order to have cigarettes. Alcohol, you have to be 21, but obviously there's ways around it, certain shady people, older brothers or sisters or cousins, our friends, you slip them a few extra bucks and they'll go get you a pack of cigarettes or a 6-pack of adult beverages for you to consume, even if you're not legally supposed to. But anyway, so in my teens, I had a few friends that were also in their teens that, they liked tobacco products. And some of them just liked smoking cigarettes. Some of them were into Swisher Sweets, Blackie Milds, and a few actually like chewing tobacco. I never could understood that, by the way. I never got why someone would want to do that, but to each their own. But I did start to smoke cigarettes later on in high school, and it wasn't that bad for me. I never really got addicted to it. Like, I would have one every now and then. I guess I would have it just to look cool. And so I would just sit there every once in a while when we were hanging out, like at a parking lot or in the backyard of a friend's house, just chilling. Everyone else is smoking, or some of them are chewing tobacco. I would just have a cigarette. But to be honest, I always preferred like Swisher Sweets or Blackie Milds. I guess because I liked the fact that they had like the plastic tip on it. And I heard stories even back then of people getting like, lip cancer, lung cancer, throat cancer from smoking. And so I thought, you know what, I don't really want cancer. So I guess I kind of grew more of a fondness for like Blackie Milds and Swisher Sweets. And they're kind of like cigars. They're kind of like thin cigars with a plastic tip on them. I don't know if it really makes it any better or worse over cigarettes. But I did eventually smoke some cigars. I had a few of the big boys. No Cubans. I never had a Cuban, though. Always heard those were good. But maybe they're just overrated. I don't know. But that's not the point. The point is, I stopped smoking. I was in radio at the time. And every now and then I'd have like a Swisher Sweet or Blackie Mild in my early 20s, like 2021. And so I went out with my boss at the time. He eventually became my best friend, but at the time I was just a weekend overnight guy in radio, also in the promotions department. We would go out and put out banners and stuff at station events. And Delinquent died. RIP, rest in peace. All right, so anyways, so I went out with my friend and a few of other radio guys to meet a record representative for one of the record companies. The record companies are where the music comes from the bands, right? So they would come to town. They would treat the radio station DJs and the program director to dinner. So we went to a nice little restaurant downtown, and it was kind of like a steak and cigar restaurant. I don't even think it's there anymore, but anyways, the steak was pretty good, and they also had cigars, and I wasn't really into smoking like really big cigars, even though I have smoked a few, as I mentioned. I was more of a Swisher Sweet Blackie Mild person, and by then it was only like every now and then. I did most of my smoking in my like late teens in high school, my like junior, senior year, but it was never because, I don't know, I never really felt like I had to smoke, but anyways, so I decided for whatever rhyme or reason that I was going to have a cigar with my steak dinner. And I don't know if it was because of the steak or because of the cigar as well. Maybe a very bad combination. Or it could be because Louisiana has really, really shitty roads. On our way back to the station on the interstate, I started feeling weird. And I was riding back with my boss, a.k.a. one of my best friends right now in real life. But this is back then when he was just my boss. And he looked at me. He's like, "You don't look so good." I'm like, I'll be fine. And so we get off the interstate. We're on the service road, about 2 or 3 minutes from the radio station. And he was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, I'm. And then before I realized it, I hurled all over his dashboard. I kid you not. I mean, we could have easily stopped, and I could have just did my business out there on the side of the road. Or I could have just had the decency to roll down the window, but it just happened so freaking fast. I know it's disgusting. Some of you are probably saying, "Go Burns, that's TMI." I know. But the point is, after that incident, which I was completely embarrassed about, fortunately, he forgave me, and he's still my best friend. Even though he does like to remind me of that incident, and anytime we've gone for like a ride together, sometimes he would jokingly say, "Hey, I think I might have to return the favor that you bestowed upon me in my Jeep a while back." Always joking. At least I hope he was joking. But anyways, after that day, that was the last time I ever smoked a cigar. And I never smoked a cigar. I never smoked a cigarette again. I never smoked a Swisher Sweet or a Blackie Mild. I quit that day back in my early 20s. Never picked it up again. And you know what? I'm thankful that I did, because I probably would by now have a serious addiction for the tobacco. And it probably would be causing some other health problems that I really don't want to have. Because like I said, some of these addictions we have are not as bad, but some do cause long-term health problems. Even though at the moment they do provide some sort of benefit, some sort of, I guess, narcotic, if you will, for those that, like to smoke for whatever rhyme or reason. They obviously ease the stress or the pressure. They make it easier for somebody to get through the day. And look, I don't think that any of this stuff should be made illegal, but I do believe in personal responsibility. and accepting responsibility for the things that you choose to consume, whether it's fatty food or snacks or, like cigarettes and alcohol. And as a lot of you know, over the past 3 months, I stopped drinking alcohol back in March because of my own personal health issues. I had to stop drinking because it was bad for my liver. And so I had to quit. But I was able to put the bottle down. And it's not like I drank anything hard either. I wasn't drinking like whiskey. I wasn't like going out drinking every night. I just had a little weakness for hard cider, a.k.a. apple ale. It was just my Achilles heel when it came to alcohol. But there were times when I definitely got like really, really, really shit-faced, especially around the time when my dad passed away back in September 2016. And if you go back and you watch my Let's Play over on the gaming channel of Mafia 2, I started recording that about an hour or two before I got the news that my dad had passed away. And I knew that it was only a matter of time anyways. I mean, he was already in a hospice. We saw him a few days earlier for his, final birthday, and it seemed pretty apparent that he wasn't going to make it, even though about this time last year he was celebrating Father's Day by being, declared cancer-free by his doctor. He went through chemo. They said he was cancer-free. He got to ring the bell. He got to do that whole I beat cancer thing. And we were all happy because we thought that we were going to have plenty more birthdays and Father's Days. And the reason why I mentioned Father's Day is because Father's Day was yesterday. And some of you are probably asking, well, Go Burns, why didn't you do a Father's Day vlog? In fact, I did. It was my very first vlog on the Vlogs channel about a year ago. So I didn't feel like doing like a Father's 2.0 video. But anyways, Rogue Sales, came in and they ultimately, costed my dad his life. Now, he was a guy that when he was younger, he also smoked cigarettes and he occasionally would like to have a Corona, but he hadn't smoked tobacco for like a long time. Like his thing was all the green herb, baby. It was all about the cannabis, the marijuana. And, like, for the most part, scientists are kind of, like, still debating it, still researching whether or not, like, marijuana is, like, addictive or causes any, like, negative side effects. But, most of them will say this: it's not anywhere near as dangerous as, say, alcohol or cigarettes. It's actually medicinal for a lot of people that go through, like, serious health problems. And when my dad was going through chemo, it definitely helped him. It absolutely helped my dad keep his appetite going. And, he didn't even lose his hair whenever he was going through chemo. And we just honestly thought that, he had beaten it, that the worst was over. But unfortunately, that was not the case. So, yeah, I went through a pretty bad state, around September whenever he passed away. I began drinking more. Some of you may have noticed from that Mafia 2 Let's Play back then. Some of you probably have watched it. And even some episodes in Mafia 3 a few weeks later in October. But in March, my doctor told me to stop drinking, and I'm like, okay, that's all you had to say, doc, stop drinking. Changed my diet, check. And about 3 months later, I'm eating like, 5 or 6 salads a week now. And I've lost a lot of weight, at least 30 to 40 pounds now. In fact, some of you have complimented me in various videos about how much better I look, and I thank you guys for the compliments. You all are awesome. And yeah, I do feel a lot better. I feel like I got a long ways to go, though. I still got to lose a few more pounds. And I don't feel like I'm 100% healthy, but I do feel healthier than I was, say, in March or early this year when I was feeling bad. But, I was able to break the addiction of alcohol. And maybe I wasn't seriously addicted to it like some people are. But at the same time, it did take a few weeks for it to finally not, sink its claws into me like it did. So there was a period over a few weeks where there was a temptation to, go get another bottle of hard cider. But I fought it. I resisted. I started eating more salads. And I wouldn't say I'm addicted to salad. But, where I go to is like a really good salad place. I've mentioned it in a previous vlog. And I like everyone that works at the salad place. And I feel like I'm helping support a local business. And at the same time, I'm eating healthier. But, I wouldn't say I'm addicted to salads. I'm not getting withdrawals like, oh, damn, I need a salad. I didn't need a salad. If I had it my way, I would still be eating, non-stop burgers and pizzas and fried chicken. Because, I know that stuff's not really good for you, but I like it. But, I've grown a tolerance for salad. But moving on to more like hard stuff when it comes to addictions, because there's obviously worse things out there than, say, cigarettes and alcohol, even though both of those are very bad. And look, I'm not telling you not to drink or not to smoke, but just be mindful of what you choose to put in your body and accept responsibility for the things that you are addicted to. And, you know, as the old saying goes, everything in moderation. You know, sometimes extremism is not the answer. And, you know, for most people, it's okay to have a drink every now and then if you're a responsible person that is either going to stay home to have an alcoholic product, or you're going to, at the very least, not drink too much, or get an Uber or a designated driver so you don't end up getting in trouble with the law, getting a DUI or a DWI or whatever it's called, and even worse, harming somebody else in the process. So that's something you definitely don't want to do if you do consume alcoholic beverages. But like I said, to each their own. But there are harder things out there, like most hardcore drugs, which cause serious addiction issues, and they ruin a lot of people's lives. And I don't think I need to name off the drugs. Most of you probably have an idea what I'm talking about. And it's not just illegal drugs either. A lot of people get addicted to like big pharma drugs and painkillers. I mean, that's a serious problem as well. And unfortunately, those two issues are the most serious ones when it comes to battling addiction. Illegal drugs and even, like I said, big pharma, drugs that even those that are prescribed to you, people become addicted to. And it becomes very difficult to get off. And a lot of them cause serious health problems and side effects. And I believe that while addiction is a serious concern and it's something that needs to be dealt with, at the same time it goes back to what I said a moment ago. I do believe in personal responsibility. But I'm not the type of person that thinks that incarceration is the answer. I don't think arresting somebody who's a drug addict or a junkie is the solution to that problem. Now, somebody that's a criminal that commits a crime, non-drug related, in other words, if you commit a victimless crime, if the only person that's been harmed is you by using a specific drug, then rehab is the answer. That's the issue. Intervention, rehab, coming to realize that you might have a problem. And no, I'm not saying that you have a problem, okay? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you do. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, you in general, like somebody out there. Let's just say Joe Blow is addicted to the blue stuff, and, he really loves that product being made by Heisenberg out in New Mexico, okay? And, Joe Blow, really wants to try and turn his life around, but he doesn't know how. He's afraid that, the DEA is going to get him and going to lock him up, He's afraid that his family's going to disown him. But, by continuing to hide from that problem, say if Joe Blow meets a good girl or a good guy, whatever Joe Blow's into, that's beside the point. Say whoever, Joe Blow meets is clean and doesn't do, say, addiction, whatever, Joe Blow's addicted to, by hiding their problem from this person of interest that they would like to be with for the next few months, years, or the rest of their life as a husband, wife, life partner, companion, whatever, doesn't do anybody any good. It doesn't do Joe Blow any good. It doesn't do that person who also wants to be with Joe any good, because it breaks the foundation of trust. So if you really do care about the people that are in your life, Joe Blow, and you have an issue and you actually want to be a better person, you actually want to turn your life around, it's not too late. There is help out there for you. But like I mentioned, it's unfortunate that a lot of countries, including my own, shun people that are addicted. They think that throwing somebody in prison is the answer. And that only makes things worse because, believe it or not, there's drugs in prison. And I know it's not supposed to be in prison, but hey, just because they make drugs illegal in a country doesn't mean that you can't get drugs. I mean, they tried to do that with alcohol back in the early 20th century in my country. They even passed an amendment to the Constitution to make alcohol prohibition a thing. And guess what happened? People still found ways to get alcohol. There were still speakeasies and moonshiners and rum runners, and you had the organized crime making huge profits. Like, for example, the Al Capones out there. They built criminal empires because alcohol happened to be illegal. And making something illegal is not the solution. The solution is education, awareness, and coming up with ways for people that really want help, that want to get over an addiction, whether it's an addiction to fast food, or an addiction to too many sweets, or an addiction to cigarettes, or alcohol, or hard drugs, or even, like I said, like big pharma pain meds. That's the answer to addiction. Compassion for that person, because you don't know what led them to go down that path of becoming addicted to whatever they're addicted to. And some people say that love is an addiction. Maybe it is. I don't know. It's a good addiction to have. I mean, like I said, there are good addictions out there. But once again, everything in moderation. But I know it's a song. You know, I'm addicted to your love. Okay, I know. I know. Okay, I remember. But yeah, so that's my opinion. That's my take on addiction. And is there anything else that I would say that I'm addicted to be honest? Not really. I mean, I guess I do have kind of a sweet tooth, even though I'm trying to get healthy. Every now and then I do like to have me, you know, something. Usually I try to get like dark chocolate. I'll do like dark chocolate instead of like getting a candy bar or something else entirely. I do try to eat more fruit now. But, you know, I do have a sweet tooth. One of my addictions. I have other vices as well that I won't go into. But, you know, we all have addictions. And some of them are relatively harmless. Some of them might make us a little thicker in the midsection. Like sweets, like sugar, and soda pop. And, like, before I conclude, like, if you think that everything I mentioned is the only dangerous addictions out there, there are other dangerous addictions. Like, for example, as I mentioned, soda. And once again, as I said, if you drink soda, that's your choice in life. I think it's unfortunate that kids are allowed to drink soda, because it has been proven that soda has like long-term health problems. Like it has like, you know, sugar or high fructose corn syrup. Anyways, I lost my train of thought there, delinquent, but it's all good. Okay, so yes, back to soda real quick. If you consume like tons of soda every day, like a 6-pack of soda or 12-pack of soda, you can get serious health problems. It causes you to gain weight. It causes you to eventually get diabetes. And you definitely don't want diabetes. It's not a good thing. My granny had diabetes, and, you know, it was not good. It's never good. And most people that have diabetes will attest to the fact that it's something they wish they didn't have. But, I mean, like I said, if you like having soda, you know, having one every now and then, you know, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. I mean, every now and then I like to have a bottle of Coca-Cola de Mexico with tacos. But I stopped drinking even soda back in March. So I haven't had soda. I haven't had alcohol. And mostly I drink water. I drink like unsweetened black tea. I drink hot green tea every now and then. So, you know, those are the beverages that I consume as of late. And grape juice in the morning, like a little cup of grape juice to go with my breakfast. But yes, there are definitely very nasty addictions that you may want to think about before you get coerced by your friends, by your peers, into partaking. So if you don't want to smoke that cigarette that your friend is smoking, or, you know, if you don't want to have a drink that, you know, these guys are drinking, don't do it. You know what? Be the bigger person and say, look, I'm just not interested in cigarettes. I'm not interested in alcohol. It's not for me. You know what? No thanks. And if they're the type of people that are going to try and, you know, peer pressure you into it, saying, oh, you're chicken, oh, you're yellow, you know, tell them, you know what? I just don't want cancer, you know. I don't need that in my life, and I don't need to be getting wrecked over and over again. So anyways, like I mentioned, you know, addiction is something we all have to various degrees, some worse than others. But if there is something you happen to be addicted to that it's causing you to make decisions in your life that you don't think you would normally make, like, for example, spending extra money on, you'd rather spend on other things, are, I don't know, doing some questionable things that you wouldn't do under normal circumstances, just so you could have money for that need, that feel, that addiction, whatever it happens to be that you're doing, or whatever addiction you happen to be hooked to. Now might be the time for you to seek help. I'm just saying. But for anything else, just remember, as I mentioned a moment ago, as long as you're a responsible adult and you recognize that this and that is in a form of addiction, and you accept the fact that this may cause you long-term health problems down the road, then in the end, that's on you. And that's what it comes down to. Personal responsibility over whatever addiction you happen to have. And if there's an addiction you want to get over, you want to get it out of your life, then you got to come forward. You got to tell those who care about you, your friends, your family, your loved ones, about your problem. Admit that you have a problem, and then get help. Go to an AA meeting. There's several anonymous meetings out there you can go to, and reach out to people that also have similar problems. And there's plenty of steps that you can take to eventually get over an addiction and put it behind you. And maybe you could quit it cold turkey. Maybe not. But either way, with each passing day, week, month, and year that you're no longer hooked to that said addiction, the better off you're going to be. Alright, so before we wrap up the vlog, I want to acknowledge that there might have been a few addictions that I left out. And that's only because there's so many types and variations of addictions out there, such as gambling addiction, hoarding, workaholics. That's a form of addiction because you're addicted to working nonstop. And, some people obviously do it because they have to make money. Others do it for other reasons. See, people that are like sports addicts, they're obsessed with sports. Watching the football, the basketball, the baseball, hockey. They just can't stop watching sports. It's just nonstop, So, yeah, that's a form of addiction, watching nothing but sports all the time and being all about your favorite team and your favorite sport, whatever you like watching. Of course, collectors. Collecting is definitely an addiction. So, yeah, you've seen people that collect various things, whether they're collecting stamps or dolls, creepy dolls. But, yeah, everything I mentioned is different forms of addictions. Some of it isn't so bad. I would consider hoarding to be bad. One more thing about my dad, is that was definitely one of his things, was he was a bit of a hoarder. And unfortunately, as the old saying goes, you can't take it with you. And, he always tried to find value in anything that he kept. He's like, oh, I could sell this one day. Oh, I just have to fix this up, and give it a, clean it and paint it, and it'll be worth something. My dad had that problem with hoarding. So, yeah, that's definitely an addiction. Just like gambling. I mentioned gambling a second ago. I love playing poker, but I would never claim to be an addict. I'm not addicted to playing poker. I like playing casually every now and then. I'm not always going up to the boats because where I live, we actually have some casinos. But because it's Louisiana law, they have to be on the river in a boat in order for it to be legal, even though the land's right there. And, hey, as long as it's on the water, it's okay to have casinos in the state of Louisiana. Go figure. But anyways, I have gone to the casino once or twice. I've made a few bucks, not a lot, but a few dollars here and there, playing some poker. But I am not an addict, okay? I just love playing, and I think that's one of the reasons why occasionally I throw up an episode of Providence Poker, Every now and then I get in the mood to fire up an episode on the PlayStation 4. And you know what I may do? I may actually live stream that sometime this week. That might be my live stream. Just live stream some poker, baby. It may be on just an extra day. I don't know. But yeah, so there's also people like I mentioned that are workaholics. They work nonstop, and as I mentioned, some people work because they have no choice. They got to pay the bills. They got to put food on the table. But there are definitely some people that are just obsessed with working, whether it's their own business, a job that they're really passionate about, and that's perfectly fine. But sometimes workaholics put everything else on the side. Their family, their loved ones, their friends, even sometimes their pets. And that's not a good thing because, I mean, the main reason why we have jobs is, so we can survive in the modern society, so we can afford to have a roof over our head and, pay the utilities and, food, et cetera, et cetera. And it's always a good thing whenever you find a job that you love, that you can make a decent living at, or, start your own career. That's fantastic. But sometimes you just got to recognize that, work isn't everything, and hoarding all this stuff isn't everything, and sports isn't everything. Everything in moderation. Just like I've said a few times, I know I'm beating a dead horse. Gambling's okay every now and then, as long as you're, willing to part with, say, $20 or $40. Don't go gambling away your car or your mortgage or your kids' college savings. Don't do that. Okay? Don't. Like I mentioned, if you have a problem and it's pretty obvious that you're spending unnecessarily amounts of your money in order to satisfy a craving, an urge, an addiction, whether it's anything I've mentioned or anything else out there, because yes, there are countless other addictions. I didn't even scratch the surface. And it's ironic because I do love playing video games, and I'm playing a video game while I'm vlogging about addictions. Am I addicted to video games? Maybe. But at the same time, video games are not everything to me. And I know I got a gaming channel. I know that. And I'm part of a podcast over on ACG with Carrick that's quite popular. We talk mostly about video games. But I also recognize the important stuff going on in the real world with the news, world events, local events, as well as things going on in the lives of my friends and family and those that I care about in real life. So yes, it's good to have hobbies. It's good to have passions. It's good to have interests. But don't allow these interests to consume you. Don't allow them to take over your life 100% until it becomes an addiction and you're like Gollum running around with your preciousness. So yeah, the ring was obviously his addiction. So don't end up becoming a Gollum. And if you have a problem, if you have an addiction, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's something like, too much crappy food, or you drink too much soda, or you're trying to quit cigarettes, alcohol, or hard drugs, or gambling, or anything else I may have mentioned or haven't mentioned, because I'm sure I left some things off my list. I apologize for that. You can get help. It's not too late, but you just got to be willing to take that first step. You take that first step and you get help. It's the journey that has begun. It's going to take time. Many steps await you after you take that first step, and it's not going to be easy. There are going to be days when you have withdrawals. Rome was not built in a day, people. It wasn't. But if you want to be a better person, if you want to get over whatever it is that you consider to be your addiction, especially if it's something that's seriously harming your life, hurting you, either health-wise or hurting you relationship-wise with that person you care about the most in your life, or your friends or family, yeah, it might be time for you to admit that there's something wrong, that you might have an addiction to this or that, and take the next step. And for your own sake and for the sake of all those you care about and love in your life, please get help for your addictions, because you do not want that addiction to become the end of you.